There we go. Okay, for the record, the State Highway Commission is assembled in South Sioux City, Nebraska at the Marriott Riverfront Hotel. The date is Friday, March 25th, and the time is 8:30 a.m. Commissioner Koppel.
Present.
Commissioner Fagerland.
Present.
Commissioner Gertis.
Present.
Commissioner Hawks.
Here.
Commissioner Kindig.
Here.
Commissioner Leifgreen.
Here.
Commissioner Wolford.
Here.
All right.
The next order of business is to review and approve the January 21st, 2022 minutes. Sarah, please call the question.
Well, motion.
Second.
All right, Koppel.
Yes.
Commissioner Fagerland.
Yes.
Commissioner Gertis.
Yes.
Commissioner Hawks.
Yes.
Commissioner Kindig.
Yes.
Commissioner Leifgreen.
Yes.
And Commissioner Wolford. All right, minutes are approved.
Thank you for coming to the meeting. There are several introductions I would like to make. Mr. Joe Warning from the Federal Highway Commission is with us. Thank you, Joe, for being here. And Mr. Lance Henquish from the city of South Sioux. Thank you for being here, Lance.
Thank you.
Are there any others that would be introduced? If not, we'll go on to our our deputy director, Mo Jamshidi.
Close enough.
Remarks. Sorry, Mo.
No problem, no problem. Thank you very much and good morning, everybody. I'm covering this morning for John Selmer, our director, who's out of town and couldn't be here. And I couldn't be happier to be in your beautiful city today, this morning. And thank you for the tour last night, Lance. It was really, every time we come, and this is the second tour we've taken, I'm always impressed of all the things you guys all got going on and all your success stories. So congratulations again. Thank you for the tour. Before I get started, I'd like to introduce some of the people that, with the DOT, just to make sure everybody knows everybody. You're gonna see Kevin Damagala, who's a district engineer. Later on, he's on the agenda to talk about his program. Kevin and his team, they do a great job of running District 3 for all the construction and maintenance, and Kevin will introduce his people later on. But from our office, we have Khalil Jabber, Deputy Director for Engineering there. We have Shannon Ankeny, our Communications Director. Next to her, Bailey Miller and Sarah Sula and Eric Strackback, Government Affairs people. I just want to share with you a couple of things that Director asked me to talk to you about. And the first thing is really the big elephant in the room that we deal with these days, which is the infrastructure bill. As you all know, the president signed it, and now we're getting to work. We have this massive bill that just passed for infrastructure for the nation, and state of Nebraska, just for ours, we probably getting close to about 30% more funding under the formula program. As you know, the way the bill is set up is it's created both the formula program, which is the biggest chunk of it, and then has already also provided some opportunities from unique kind of different new kind of grants. And I think the locals, the cities, the counties, they're all also excited about possibly applying for some of these grants. And I think when we do encourage them and we offer help if they want to understand what the grant is about. And I'll talk about a little bit about that a little bit later. But these grants, there's so many of them, I can't even remember all of them. But one of them I want to talk about is that electric charging, because last time during the tour, Lance told us that they lead the state on the number of charges they already have. And this bill is providing the nation the opportunity to connect, to put together a map of, if you will, these electric chargers. So as these number of electric cars go up, they can rely on getting from point A to point B without running out of juice, if you will. This is one of the only ones that has both formula money in it and it's got grant money. So the state, we will get close to about $6 million a year for the next 5 years, total of about 30 million to spend on these chargers. Now, as with everything big massive program like this, we got to know the rules of the game. We got to know how do we apply, what's eligible, what's not. The first order of business before we can use any of this funding is for the state to do a state planning, in that we have to provide a plan to FHWA by August 1st that said, what is our game plan? And these charges have to be spread around maximum of 50 miles across the state. So it's designed so the DOTs don't just go put these things anywhere. There's a method to it. And this plan is massive. It's got public involvement in it. It's quite involved, and yet we have a couple of 3 months to do it. We've already hired a consultant on it, and they're working, and we'll bring in that to public as well. And once that plan is done by August 1st, then we submit it to FHWA for approval. They're required to give us their approval by, I think, September 30th or so, before anything can happen, right? So once that happens, then we start executing the plan, we start building these. There are still a lot of unknowns about these. How do we do it? There's a supply issue. We don't even know where they're all going to come from. And there are also some major federal requirement that they haven't set aside. We still have to meet all the federal requirements, including Buy America, which all the parts of these have to be built in America. And we think that's going to be challenging. A lot of these things are not manufactured or built in the United States. So we have a lot of hurdles to jump through. But I think overall, it's a good thing. I think we're going to get something going. We definitely will meet our deadline for our plan, and we'll start building these. I think we're going to concentrate on the I-80 corridor first, and we really encourage the cities, the counties, whoever they want this to contact us if they want to put a proposal for the grant as well, because then we can work together and make sure our plan and their plan maybe can complement one another. So the other grant I want to talk about is the RISE grant that we just one of the major projects in District 3 we're going to apply for, and that's the Highway 275 just east of Norfolk to Pilger. We will be we're required to put the application for that by May 1st. Again, really short time period. We have a consultant working on it, and I keep saying consultants, and I really, for those locals who are looking to put some kind of an application together, it is a lot of work. And if you don't have the staff that is familiar with these things, and believe me, if you read the requirements on some of these grants, like I have last couple of days, as the other ones the rules are released, it's quite complicated. You really got to know what kind of a grant you put together to make sure you meet all the requirements within the grant so you could be considered. But again, DOT can be a resource for you. We can identify maybe the consultants that we're working with so that can help as well. So one of the things everybody is asking us these days, you get 30% more formula funds and you get opportunity for all these grants. How much more highways are you going to build with this? Well, we don't know, because honestly, there's a lot of challenges ahead of us. the most important thing is the labor force right now, what we have going on. I always tell people, money doesn't build projects. People build projects. You have to have the money to hire the people to build projects, but if you don't have the people to build the projects, you automatically add more to the inflation, the project costs that at least in a short period of time. We don't think the contractors are gonna expand 30% because there's 30% money out there. And sometimes when we put out more projects and the prices escalate, that trickles down to the city projects, the county projects as well. Contractors get filled up. So that's a challenge we all have to face. The workforce these days is just is crazy. Both contractors and consultants are struggling to hire people. And then you all know about the supply chain, where materials are not coming in, and at least they're not coming in the fashion that we want, with the timeliness that we want. We have a lot of projects right now that contractors are asking for a little extension when we're allowing that to get them done, because of this supply chain issue. Department of Transportation is really no different when it comes to labor market. We are really struggling in hiring people right now. An example, this our South Sioux yard, we had an 8-person yard, and a couple of months ago, we had 6 opening in that yard. And we are just like any other county and city, what have you. We're struggling to attract talent, because they're just not there. For some reason, after post-pandemic or pandemic did something to our workforce, and we're not competitive. That's the bigger problem. We need to address our competitiveness, and then the labor force itself. We got to do everything we can to get the work of the people done with the people we have. Our District 3 right now, almost 20 openings, and we used to have 5, 6, 7 applicants per opening. Now we don't get any. So that's the challenge that we got ahead of us that somehow we need to address. And again, we're working on it. The other quick thing I want to touch upon is our expressways. As you know, in the last couple of years, the expressways have been on the radar to make sure we get them all finished. These are the 1988 expressway projects that were identified by the lawmakers, and we're over 70% complete. But the progress for the rest of them are going really well. Highway 81, New York to Columbus, we just hired a consultant to do the preliminary plan. So that's gonna start going on. This fall, there's a piece of Highway 77, Fremont to Wahoo, that's still not 4-lane. We're gonna go out for a consultant to hire somebody to start working on that as well. So things are progressing really well. The 275 projects that Kevin is gonna talk about that are under construction, they're all going really well. So knock on wood, hopefully we get all of these done, open them to traffic. We've had a mild winter, and that's a blessing and a curse sometimes. People are driving more because our highways are dry and there's not that many storms, and that kind of causes sometimes our fatality numbers go up. So in the last couple of months, our ticked up on the number of fatalities that we've had on our highways. So again, I ask everybody to buckle up, put your phone down as you're driving, and please give the message to everybody else that it saves lives. Simple things you can do. Distracted driving is one of the top reasons why we have some of these problems. And take care of yourselves. With that, I'm gonna leave it there, and if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Are there questions for Mr. Jamshidi?
I have one question. When you mentioned 275 project, you said east of Norfolk to Pilgrim. Did you not mean east of Norfolk to Prisoner?
Well, there's a bunch of pieces there. The one that we're gonna go after the grant is just one of the pieces. You know, east of Norfolk is 4-lane up to already quite a bit east. And the piece that we're going to ask for the grant money. Now, we don't need the money to build that thing. That's already in our cash flow. We're gonna finish the 275. But every time there's a grant opportunity there, we go after it to get some federal funds to supplement what we already have. You bet.
Are there any other questions? If not, we'll have Commissioner Dave Koppel from the group.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We're pleased that you took time out of your hectic schedules to join us this morning. The Highway Commission over the past several years has traveled out into the various districts to hear what the constituents have by way of questions or issues. And so at the time of the public hearing, we'd ask you to step to the microphone, or we'll hand you a microphone. We'll need you to identify yourself and spell your name so that the public officials have that for record purposes. We'd like you to share your comments, your concerns, any questions that you may have. And again, we appreciate you coming and sharing your ideas and your thoughts with us today. That's the purpose of our meeting being held in locations such as South Sioux City and elsewhere. Thank you. And at that, I'll introduce the District 3 engineer, Kevin Damagala. Kevin, would you like to proceed with your presentation, please?
All right, thank you. Good morning. I'd like to thank the city of South Sioux for the tour last night. It was quite impressive. Also like to thank you for your hospitality, for being the host city for this year's Outstate Highway Commission meeting. And I'd also like to thank the commission for letting me visit with you and share some of the things that we've done, we've got planned, and what we're under construction right now. I'm Kevin Damagala. I serve as your District 3 engineer for Northeast Nebraska. And I'd like to introduce some of the folks I brought with me from my office today. We've got Matt Samuelson as our project delivery engineer. He takes projects from concept to contract and ushers them through the whole process to keep them on track and get them delivered as quick as we can. We've got Rob Davis, our construction engineer. He takes all the contracting work, oversees that, make sure that they get built correctly. And then we've got Tim Comey. He is our operations maintenance manager. He kind of sandwiches between the, takes care of everything before and after projects. He is in charge of all our assets throughout the business. So I thank you for coming. And at the end of the program, I will take any questions, and I'll take the easy ones, and those three can take them. First, let's see. Nobody gave me a tutorial on what around this.
Point this over here. There we go. Maybe.
Okay, but first I'd like to review some of the accomplishments that we had this last year. Showing on the screen. Oops. Oh, that works. Showing on the screen is the district program from 2021. And as you can see, we have a number of projects throughout the district. I'm just going to highlight a few of them. The In Winnebago project, right over here, was a reconstruction of Highway 75 through the village of Winnebago. Early in the planning process, the tribe approached us and asked us to consider adding a roundabout to the north end of the project to help calm traffic as it enters the village and the school area. Also, we worked with Indian Health Services to on a design that they had for adding sanitary and water service upgrades through town, and worked closely with the village in advance of that project to get all that done. On top of that, we had the DIA was had a project plan for the east side of the roundabout on a DIA road they had. So we had to coordinate with them during the project to make sure that those two projects could mesh, everything would work out for schedule and to get everything done. Well, it seemed like an ordinary part of the job at the time, you know, day-to-day work. When you look back on it, it was quite an accomplishment getting everybody working together to get things turned out the way they did. A little bit on a side note, last week we had a tribal transportation conference. Every year we try to get the 4 tribes from northeast Nebraska together and visit on common problems, solutions, and get things worked out. I was going to highlight this project as one of our accomplishments at that meeting, and unfortunately, the Winnebago tribe beat me to the punch, and they probably did a much better presentation. So it was nice to see the work that we've done together. It was appreciated. We do have 2 projects underway in the Martinsburg area on Highway 20 and on Highway 9. 2021 involved quite a bit of bridge work and then also concrete patching on Highway 20. Bridge work is in the final stages, get that finished up, and we've got, just recently we heard from the contractor, they want to start paving there middle of April, so that should start back up shortly. We received a federal grant for innovative approach to bridge construction, known as the Norfolk Northeast Bridges Project. This covers 7 bridge replacements, and they all are within about a 20-mile radius of each other. These bridges were designed to be similar in nature so that the contractor utilized the same construction methods and forming materials to cut down on the time and expense to build them. Work started last summer on the chute lines on 81, and then also on the bridge near Dixon. They've just, the last week or so, went and shipped traffic onto the chute lines on 81 and have started removal of those bridges. So those should be done by end of this year. All 7 bridges should be completed by the late fall of next year. Work on I-129 started last year and is to be completed in December of 23. Work involved repaired 11 different bridges, pavement resurfacing and upgrading the large size corridor. Lake River has a contract with several subcontractors working together to get the job completed within the time constraints. So far, they've completed repairs on 5 of the 11 bridges. The West Point to Scrivener Expressway project, and that goes down into District 2. Split into 4 separate pavement projects and 2 wetland mitigation projects. Work started on the West Point North and South project, as well as the Scrivener North. Bridge work on these projects required an earlier start date on those 2 projects, with the anticipation to get all 4 projects completed roughly about the same time. Significant work's already been done on the Elkhorn Bridge, north of Scrivener, and quite a bit of grading there. Scrivener bypass will start here shortly, which includes rebuilding the levee around Scrivener, And then work on the West Point South project, schedules to start about mid-summer. Moving on to this year's program. That this shows our new projects under construction in 22. Work on Highway 20 from the intersection of 81 to Belden. It's going to start next week, actually. Just visited with the contractor on their schedule. Now, originally the project was slated to take 2 years to complete, and with the contractor schedule, he is doing quite a few operations simultaneously, and actually is looking to get that project done for the most part by this fall with some finish up work in spring. There's replacement of pavement through the city of Randolph, which will include some signals. I know that the city of Randolph, city administrator, development, Randolph is kind of getting in traffic signals. Resurfacing north and south of Arlington will be starting this spring under 2 different projects, and then a third project in the center of town. We'll upgrade a box culvert and then do some preventative maintenance on both highways 57 and 84. On 51, there are 2 large box culverts that have reached the end of their life, need to be replaced. So we have decided to utilize a multi-plate system on that. In essence, what it is you instead of having a large concrete box culvert, you have a large culvert that you build in place with separate plates bolted together. Cuts down on the time for forming concrete cure and all that. So that will speed that process up. While we've got the work in progress, we will have the highway detour up to 94. Once we get those box culverts, or those culverts replaced, we'll go ahead backfill the road and open back up traffic through the pavement under flagging conditions. Highway 15 will be resurfaced, and a number of bridges have some work to be done on with the proximity of the bridges to each other and also to the county roads. We have to go ahead and schedule those bridges in separate phases. They'll also work with the county and get some agreements on some county road impacts there. Just the other day, county engineer called and wanted to do a little coordination on that one. They've got a project, the DHA highway project. Want to make sure that we work together to get that done. One of our biggest projects that we've got planned is 23rd Street in Columbus. We've got 2.7 miles of 5-lane urban reconstruction, and we'll be letting that shortly with some of the supply issues that Mona has mentioned earlier. We are looking at entertaining a request from the contractor to possibly start that this spring instead of this fall, just because of some of the issues that the contractor shared. Project is split into 3 different segments. Each segment has 3 different phases, and that's so that we'll be able to do work on traffic. Work includes new storm sewer, sidewalks throughout the corridor, lighting and signal work, and then of course all the pavement through town. The city and the Chamber of Commerce have we worked with them all along through the design of the project, but they also wanted to do some aesthetic upgrades, and they worked together put together some financing and, have come up with, a number of, aesthetic and landscaping improvements at the, lab project. I've, seen the artist rendition that they had for that, and it is quite impressive, so, I think that, when we're done, it's gonna look wonderful. Now, for a 6-year program, here are the projects that we've got various stages of design and planning through the 6 years. I'll highlight some of the areas of interest. We continue to make progress on the library east and west project. Working towards the draft EIS, planning on using the CMGC method to deliver this project, which involves getting a contract management contractor to aid with the design of it. We plan on putting out an RFQ here shortly, and then hopefully in the next couple of months, we'll have somebody on board. Work on the Highway 20 corridor, planned under several different projects. Once completed, the Highway 20 corridor should be in good shape for several years. We've been working on that, on other parts and pieces of that all along. So once we get everything taken care of in our 6-year program, we should be set. The Highway 275 corridor is planned under several different projects. We've got 3 projects in the Neely area for resurfacing, and then of course the 4 remaining projects on the expressway to finish that up. And as Mo mentioned, that we have the 57 Pillar job is the one that he was referred to try to get the praise grant. And then we've got Pillar to Whistler and last 2 segments here. Highway 77 has 3 different resurfacing projects. From Oakland to Winnebago, as well as Rosalie Spur. During the design process of that, we did get requests from the tribe again to look at the intersection of 51 and 77, and or no, 94 and 77. As we were looking at that project, that intersection, we did a study on 51 also, and it did come out to show that the intersection improvement be viable there to go ahead and reduce some of the accidents that we've seen in that area. As this came a little bit later on in the planning process, I didn't want to delay the resurfacing of that highway, so we've gone ahead and we're continuing on with the intersection improvement design, but on the same similar track that we'll probably go ahead and have those left in the subsequent year of finishing up the 77 project. Last year, our maintenance forces did an amazing job of, we had some ride issues on Highway 77. They did an amazing job going ahead and getting some milling done to smooth it up, and then put down the armor mill, that entire stretch to seal it up. And the work they did, I think, hold it together in great shape until we can get the resurface. We've got several projects planned in the South City area, including finishing up Highway 35 up to Dakota City, Highway 20 from Jackson to the interstate, Highway 110, then also the 4-lane north of Homer. A couple of other things I want to bring up are things our communications division's been working on. Now, we publish the program book every year, and it has it's got a lot of information there. It served us well for a long time, but they are planning on enhancing the 1-year program map by adding some more information to it. Now, they want to add some of the traffic impacts that can be expected, and then also the timing on that. Of course, there's always that risk that the timing can be by either the contractor schedule or other things outside of our control. Like a contractor wanting to do a 2-year project in 1 year, but I think that it really does give us a good overview of the work that we've got planned and what kind of traffic impacts that people can expect. And Mo mentioned this a little bit too. We've been promoting the Buckle Up Fall Down campaign for a couple of years. In its simplest terms, the 2 things you can do to reduce accidents and end serious injuries. Every time you get in the car, you put your seatbelt on, and if you're driving, your phone down. As part of the campaign, they've reached out to schools to spread the word, as those kids are the next generation of drivers that will be using our road. As a fun way to promote this and to bring attention to our 511 page and Plow Tracker app, they hosted a contest with those schools participating in the Buckle Up, Phone Down campaign. And as school gets to suggest names for name one of the plows. In our area, we had an impressive showing with several entries being chosen from our local students. So if you visit the Plow Tracker website, you might be able to see Our Power coming out of the Columbus area. Or on Wayne, you might be able to see Icebreaker 2000. This slide combines past, present, and future programs that the department has in place. In looking over all of them, there's been a theme of communication, collaboration, coordination, and cooperation. Well, be able to plan, design, and construct experience. So I thank you for your attention, and I understand that we'll have the public input and questions here shortly. I don't know do you want me to turn the floor back to the chair, or do you just want to request public input?
First, I'd ask, are there any questions, Mr. Domagala? Questions?
My name is David Branch. I'm with Montgomery County Economic Development. I don't think I need much. Your 275 project on your 6-year program, it looks like it's complete. So does that mean in the next 6 years we can plan on that being complete?
The exact timing on that, I think that the final segments, I can't say for sure. We'll probably have them under either under contract or close to by the end of that 6 years.
The other thing that I keep wondering is I keep seeing the map. If there's nothing addressed for West Point to Oakland on Highway 32, and as 275 goes 4 lane, I believe that could probably increase some traffic there. Is there any plans to look at that section of road?
I take a look at it every year. Yes, there is some work that probably should be the new program on there shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions, Mr. Domagala? Thank you so much for your presentation. I thank the commissioner, and I think all of us really appreciate when we're out in the state, and Nebraska has like over 10,000 miles of roads, and as we as commissioners are able to go to the district, different districts, I think it's really helps us with our understanding of what goes on in that particular district. And there's no 2 districts that are really alike, and so you will see the differences as you travel across the state. So again, thank you for your presentation, and This time we will open it for public input. Is there any letters to be read into the record? And if so, if you would give those to Sarah, she will read them into the record.
I didn't receive any either, so.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, well then, as Mr. Koppel reiterated that this is the time for the public to speak. If you would like to come up to the podium, you would need to give your name and then spell your name and then proceed with the information you would like for us to receive.
You'll be up there, that,
To the podium.
all right, glad to.
Right there.
Commissioner Lance Hedquist, I'm the city administrator in South City. We definitely want to welcome you here. We're glad you're here. Glad looking at the South City area. We're the 14th largest city in the state of Nebraska. We have 45,000 cars a day when we cross our bridges. I think it's over 20% of all the traffic between Iowa and Nebraska come across our area. Puts a lot of pressure on the highway group to keep people informed of what's happening on these projects out here, particularly the Highway 20 project. You should have a handout from the city of South Sioux City talking about some projects that we'd like to have you consider. Number one is a compacted concrete paving program. We think that would be eligible under the federal demonstration programs. You'll see that it started in 2015, and that this would be a demonstration we would like to see next to the Damodara dog park. He's the guy that died over in the Afghanistan area. It'd be also by the Vietnam Wall. It'd also be by the Siouxland War building. So we think that's an ideal place to try this project in our area. Secondly, we are looking to do a trail project, which is along the Mid-America right away. They're a gas company here. That's about 1.6 million. It will serve the area on the east side of town. We have more bicycle paths per capita than any other city, I think, in the United States. And we would like to see this put in as part of that area that's developing. We have the most housing construction we've ever had in our area. We have over 400 housing units coming in right now, which is way more than we've had in the past. That will greatly increase traffic. And we think this is a great appurtenance for having new people move to our area. Estimated cost of that is $1.6 million. The third area would be to enhance our economic programs in the city. That would be to take the old Highway 20. Actually, there's an old Highway 20. This is the old Highway 20. To get that area developed, widened, just like we assisted the area by Great West Casualty, which is the largest truck insurance company in the United States. Like we did there, we would like to expand that to serve a new area because we have industries that want to move in to that location. That estimated cost is $2.5 million. And that would serve not only South Sioux City, but it also serve Dakota County in their economic efforts. You can see the cost description there for that project. The next project would be on the signal system. We have the traditional signals with the detectors in the cement. We do have constant problems with that, and obviously replacing the cement to get those units to work has been a problem over the past. We'd like to have considered under the state program is to have those signals, and you can see the map with the signals there, that are city and state signals, shown on the map is green boxes. I think they'd be much better served doing the radar system. And that would save all the time and cost of tearing up the streets for the construction of that, those intersections themselves. So that in summary is some of the projects that we'd like to see done, and we appreciate the past and cooperation with the Department of Roads and looking at our situation. Now, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
How does the radar system work in signalization?
What the radar system does is it detects the traffic. So it'll see how many cars are stacked up in an area. So instead of having to have a loop underneath the ground, and you have problems with like motorcycles, it detects. The radar covers that issue. And actually the state is doing that system. So we're kind of mimicking what the state wants to do. We think interconnecting all these into one system makes sense, but it actually detects how many cars are waiting, tells you when to turn on and off, so traffic flow is much better. And it works in fog and snow. So it's a great idea. Whoever came up with that with the state did good.
So are there any other questions from the commission?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nicholas.
You got it. Thank you, Ms.
Hey, are there any other members of the public who would like to address the group? Seeing none, remarks from the chair. I too would like to thank District 3 for hosting us today at this meeting. And I'd like to thank Lance for the tour and then also the report. You have many positive things going on in South Sioux City and Dakota City, and I know that you have definitely made your city a better place to live, and thank you for your report. Also, I'd like to reiterate the buckle up, phone down, and the easiest thing to do is maybe buckle up is easy. Sometimes phone down isn't as easy, especially if it's ringing. Probably just put it off. That might help. But with that, I would thank all of you for today. And we have a report on what public meetings.
Yep. So we have, NDOT has 3 public meetings that are scheduled next month. April 6th will be in Gretna for the N370 and 150th Street project. April 14th will be in Ainsworth for the Highway 7 and Ainsworth project. And then on April 28th, we'll be in Seward for the Highway 34 North and South project. And then the next scheduled Highway Commission meeting is on May 20th, 8:30 a.m. at the Highway Commission Room at NDOT headquarters in Lincoln.
Sarah?
Yep.
If there is no other business to come before the commission, meeting is adjourned.
Well done. Keeping us on track.